It's time for our Seen and Unseen segment, where we explore the stories behind the headlines. So for that, we turn to the author of The Wise Men Who Found Christmas, out now, and Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo. All right, Raymond, Biden is spinning the Blarney again.
Laura, nearly every Biden event or interview could really be billed as story time with Grandpa Joe.
Aww.
At a fireman's event yesterday, this was the tale spun, literally.
Lightning struck a little pond behind my house, came up through the ground into the air conditioning system, ended up generating thick black smoke, literally that of those proportions. And from the basement to the third floor, the attic, everything was ruined. And the kitchen floor, we almost lost a couple firefighters, they tell me.
They who? Who told you? The truth is, it was a small kitchen fire, Laura, that was out in 20 minutes. We have the article.
Well, as my granddad told me, Joey, when you got a fire extinguisher handy, don't forget to pull the pin. Like, she just says anything. Like, you don't know what he's saying.
But the stories and shifts in identity. He has been a coal miner's grandson, an arrested civil rights activist, none of which is true. None of this is new, by the way. A few weeks ago, Biden tried to pass himself off as being raised in the Puerto Rican community of Delaware when he was taking time off from being Jewish.
I probably went to shul more than many of you did, on Saturday and on Sunday. You all think I'm kidding. I'm not.
Anyone who constantly has to add, I'm not kidding, no joke, this is the God's honest truth, is probably not telling the God's honest truth. And it erodes confidence in everything he says, Laura. That's the problem.
Well, Raymond, they're his verbal crutches. Like, if he forgets where he is in a sentence, he always says, I don't have time. I don't want to get into that right now, because he forgets where he is on the list of things he's talking about. All right, well, today Biden told this whopper in Colorado.
Oh.
I say this as a father of a man who won the Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal, and lost his life in Iraq.
That is so sad. I mean, Beau Biden did not die in Iraq. He died in 2015 of brain cancer at home. So, again, the conflation and the expansion of these stories, Laura, even the New York Times finally getting wise. They acknowledged that Biden spins yarns that often unravel. We might call that pandering and lying, but we're not going to get too specific.
Are you sure he was talking about his son there, Raymond?
Yeah.
Was he talking about someone else?
He was talking about Beau. He said, as the father of a son who died in Iraq. When did that happen?
Well, the kicker, though, is after he's called out by the New York Times, he then goes on with Jake Tapper to talk climate change, and then he just starts throwing out numbers, forget about the facts.
We passed $368 billion worth of help, which, as the same bankers talk about, is going to bring $1.7 trillion off the sidelines in investment.
Billion, trillion, quadrillion, zillion. Every time he talks about numbers, Laura, he sounds like an auctioneer. Give me $1 billion, give me $2 billion. What I found curious was Jake Tapper. He books the President of the United States, gives him 15 minutes, then he gives The Rock nearly the same amount of time. But maybe it makes sense. He had to explore the deep political message of The Rock's new Black Adam superhero movie.
There's also this theme about how Westerners have no right to impose their views or decisions on conduct. There is an anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism theme that I've never seen before in a superhero movie.
Well, thank you for pointing that out. Thematically, I feel like we tried to add as many layers as possible.
Why do we care about the backstory of this superhero? Who goes to a superhero movie to get a political message? Anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist. This was about pushing The Rock to run for president, Laura, and he took a pass for now, at least.
Raymond, looks like Jake, is he trying to do like the Larry King thing? Or I'm not quite sure, the no tie.
Yeah, the open collar, relaxed look, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an endearing thing, I guess. But do you think he gave Joe 15, or was he supposed to give Joe an hour, and then they had to cut it because Joe was getting
very likely
lost?
Yeah.
All right, well, before I let you go, Raymond, your picture book, The Wise Men Who Found Christmas, is just out. Just came out this week. Tell us a little bit about the book, the tour. You're just about to hit the road.
This is the true story of the wise men. They were not kings. They were not from the Far East. That's all a legend, and there may have been more than 3 of them. And the historic reality of their journey, where it started in Arabia, turns out to be a high-stakes adventure, and I've kind of assembled what I learned for the whole family. And when you bring the Magi into focus, the one they sought, the Christ child, suddenly becomes more real as well. I'm going to be at the Reagan Library next week, in L.A. at the Grove. I've got a virtual signing tomorrow. All the details are at RaymondArroyo.com. I hope you'll get a copy, and I hope you'll come see me. And Laura, I think you're joining me on a couple of these clandestine visits as we go on the
You never.
Wise
That's an
Men Who
interesting
Found
book
Christmas
tour
tour.
when it's clandestine. All right, Raymond, I'll show up. You know I will.
Well,
All
you're
right, thanks, Ray.
clandestine, not the
Yeah,
tour.
exactly. Congratulations. Awesome.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.